Tai Tuivasa is refreshingly candid about the difficult road back to the UFC octagon. The popular Australian heavyweight is set to return at UFC 325 in Sydney this weekend against Teixeira, marking his first fight since a split-decision loss to Jairzinho Rozenstruik in August 2024. After that defeat, Tuivasa took a self-imposed hiatus from the sport, and as he admits, re-entry was anything but smooth. "It was hard at the start because I was fat as fuck, but I'm all good now," Tuivasa said with characteristic bluntness at UFC 325 Media Day. He elaborated on the mental and physical toll of his recent skid, which now stands at 5 consecutive losses. "I had to miss it. Getting your head punched in and then losing and trying to come back, it's pretty hard, but I'm ready to get back on a winning streak now. I'm ready to go hard, give it all." Despite entering the bout as a significant underdog, Tuivasa's confidence appears undimmed. The fire to compete, he says, never truly left. "It's been a while, I fucking miss this shit." His training camp was a grind, a necessary purge after a prolonged period of inactivity and celebration. "I was going through a wall the first month of training, but I feel good now," Tuivasa told UFC.com. "I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I was putting my feet up in my time off, so I knew it was going to be hard. Nothing comes easy." Tuivasa's mission is clear: stop the slide and reignite his career in front of a home crowd. His last victory was a legendary knockout of Derek Lewis in February 2022, a moment that feels a lifetime ago in the volatile world of heavyweight MMA. "My plan is to win this weekend, put my hand up and get back in there as soon as we can and work my way back up," he stated. "I've been on a bit of a shit trot, so get the job done this weekend and we'll go from there." Facing the formidable Teixeira, Tuivasa understands the stakes. A 6th straight loss could spell the end of his tenure as a ranked contender, but Bam Bam has built his brand on resilience, power, and an unshakable connection with fans. His comeback isn't just about a win, it's about proving that after a brutal stretch of setbacks and hard-earned return to form, he still belongs in the wild and unforgiving landscape of the UFC heavyweight division.
Fresh off capturing the UFC Strawweight Championship, Mackenzie Dern is mapping out the path for her first title defense, and she sees a compelling and likely showdown with the woman who formerly held the belt, Zhang Weili. Dern secured the vacant 115-pound title in October with a gritty unanimous decision victory over Verna Jandiroba at UFC 321, and now, as she looks to establish her reign, the former champion looms as the most significant challenge on the horizon. Weili's own trajectory makes the matchup a natural fit. After dominating the strawweight division, she vacated her title to pursue champ status at flyweight, challenging Valentina Shevchenko this past November. While she put forth a valiant effort, Shevchenko proved too much, handing Weili a unanimous decision loss and halting her bid for a second belt. That setback at 125 pounds has opened the door for a return to the weight class she once ruled, and Dern believes she is the most logical and dangerous opponent awaiting her. There have been girls, I think, that could come up depending on their fight schedule, but I think Weili is a really strong contender, Dern told MMA Junkie, acknowledging the unique stakes such a fight would carry. The bout would be layered with narrative weight, because Weili never lost her strawweight title in the cage, instead choosing to vacate it in pursuit of greater glory. A segment of fans and pundits still consider her the division's true standard-bearer. A fight against Dern would serve as a de facto unification, a chance to crown an undisputed queen at 115 pounds. Dern is acutely aware of that perception, though she doesn't feel an internal need to validate her championship by facing Weili. However, she recognizes the powerful statement a victory would make. "I don't feel like I need to, but I feel like the fans really want to see it. You know what I mean? If she wanted to retire today, she could because she's accomplished so much. So I don't put that pressure on myself that I need to fight here. But it would definitely be very fulfilling to beat her and kind of solidify to anyone that had a doubt that I'm the real champion and I just didn't get it easy." For Dern, a triumph over a legend like Weili would transcend a typical title defense. It would be a career-defining victory, erasing any lingering questions about her legitimacy and cementing her place at the top of one of the sport's most talent-rich divisions. As the new champion surveys the landscape, a blockbuster clash with Zhang Weili stands out, not just as a strong possibility, but as the fight that would bring decisive clarity and explosive excitement to the UFC strawweight throne.
UFC middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev is escalating his campaign for a blockbuster champion versus champion clash, taking pointed and personal shots at light heavyweight title holder Alex Pereira on social media. As fans and pundits debate whether Chimaev will defend his 185-pound crown or leap to 205 pounds in pursuit of a second UFC title, Boers is making it abundantly clear who he views as his prime target in the division above. Chimaev's future is one of the most compelling puzzles in the sport. While contenders like Dricus du Plessis and Brendan Allen await a shot at his middleweight throne, the allure of making history by dethroning Pereira has proven powerful. The Brazilian star, meanwhile, has his own historic ambitions, openly discussing a move to heavyweight to chase an unprecedented third UFC championship. This parallel pursuit of legacy has set the stage for a potential collision, and Chimaev is now fueling the fire with a series of provocative posts. In a recent tweet, Chimaev posted a stark side-by-side comparison of their professional records. His side read Boers 15W, referencing his own undefeated record, while Pereira's side listed Chama 13W and 3 losses. The caption drove the point home with taunting simplicity. "Only this is the difference between us," followed by a barrage of laughing emojis. The message was unambiguous. Chimaev sees Pereira's defeats as a critical flaw in his aura of invincibility. He doubled down by sharing images of Pereira and his mentor, former champion Glover, in moments of defeat. One graphic showed Pereira knocked out cold by Israel Adesanya during their middleweight rivalry. Another showed Glover succumbing to a submission against Jiri. The intent was clear, to highlight vulnerability and demystify the feared striker, even though Pereira has since avenged his loss to twice in epic fashion. Chimaev concluded his online offensive with a blunt justification for the disrespect, tweeting, "If you show respect, I show back respect. Chama team talk too much, that's why no respect anymore." This suggests the bars are a direct response to perceived talk from Pereira's camp, framing his actions as retaliatory rather than unprompted. The social media salvo is a classic Chimaev move, confident, confrontational, and designed to force the UFC's hand. By directly attacking the light heavyweight king's record and team, he is building a narrative for a fight that would capture the imagination of the MMA world. Whether the promotion prioritizes this super fight over the logical contenders in both divisions remains the major question. But one thing is certain, Khamzat Chimaev is not waiting quietly in the wings. He's loudly calling for the biggest challenge available, and he's doing it by trying to tear down the legend of Alex Pereira piece by piece.
Arnold Allen is venting his frustrations beyond the official result of his UFC 324 fight, taking direct and pointed aim at the commentary that accompanied his closely contested loss to John Silva. The English featherweight, who dropped a hard-fought decision on last Saturday's main card, believes the battle wasn't confined to the octagon. He was also up against what he perceives as a biased narrative from the broadcast booth, specifically from longtime voice Joe Rogan. In a detailed and candid reaction video on his YouTube channel, Allen dissected the performance and saved his sharpest criticism for the commentary team. His core complaint is that Rogan's call of the fight was imbalanced, consistently amplifying Silva's offense, even when strikes landed on Allen's guard, while downplaying his own effective, clean shots. "The commentary team, man, I don't know," Allen began, his irritation palpable. "You hear rumors about agendas and then you watch it. Every time a shot lands on my elbow or arm, it's, oh my God, but I land a clean left hand down the middle that staggers him and it's just, nice shot by Allen. Then they talk about his power. How do you not know how hard I hit?" Allen's grievance highlights a subtle but impactful aspect of the viewing experience for fighters. Commentary can profoundly shape how fans, and perhaps even judges, subconsciously perceive a fight's momentum, damage, and control. He feels the disparity in excitement and descriptive language created an unfair perception that Silva was dominating the exchanges and landing the heavier blows, even in moments where Allen was confident he was landing the cleaner, more telling shots. To underscore his point about the power behind his punches, a trait he believes was completely overlooked in the broadcast, Allen issued a tongue-in-cheek yet revealing challenge to the broadcaster. "If Joe Rogan wants to spar with us before the fights, maybe they'll know how hard I hit," he added, suggesting that first-hand experience in the gym might adjust the commentator's perspective on his capabilities. The bout marked Allen's first appearance since snapping a 2-fight skid against elite competition with a win over Giga Chikadze in July 2024. While the loss to the surging Silva is a setback in the competitive featherweight division, the fiercely competitive nature of the 3-round battle proved that Allen, now 19-4, still very much belongs among the divisional elite. Fortunately for Allen, a potential remedy for his commentary concerns already exists due to UFC broadcast logistics. Joe Rogan has a long-standing and well-known policy of not traveling outside the United States for UFC events. Therefore, if Allen's next bout takes place in his home country of the United Kingdom or at any other international venue, he will be guaranteed a different lead commentary team. That scenario could provide the more neutral, technically focused assessment he seeks as he looks to rebuild his momentum in one of the UFC's most talent-rich and unforgiving weight classes. The UFC is reportedly in serious discussions about a seismic shift, considering the dramatic move of stripping Tom Aspinall of the heavyweight title to book John Jones versus Alex Pereira for the undisputed championship. The promotion is grappling with a frozen division as Aspinall remains sidelined indefinitely with a serious eye injury, and the allure of a legacy-defining super fight between Jones and Pereira is proving incredibly powerful. Jones, the former light heavyweight king, has been vocal about his desire to move up and challenge Pereira, the current light heavyweight champ and a former middleweight title holder, in a bid to become a 2-division champion. Pereira has consistently welcomed the challenge. With Aspinall's recovery timeline unclear, the UFC is weighing the controversy of stripping an injured champion against the historic commercial and sporting appeal of making Jones versus Pereira, a fight that would instantly become one of the biggest in MMA history. No decision has been finalized, but the talks underscore the urgency to resolve the heavyweight logjam with a fight of unparalleled magnitude. Sean Strickland's coach, Eric Nicksick, has opened up about his star pupil's often overlooked wrestling skills and the renewed commitment he's shown in training ahead of a pivotal main event clash with Anthony Hernandez at UFC Houston. While Strickland is primarily known for his relentless pressure boxing and defensive prowess on the feet, Nicksick believes there's a deeper, underutilized layer to his game that could be the key to navigating the elite of the middleweight division. "Everyone in here knows how good Sean can wrestle and his ground game," Nicksick said in a recent interview. "Unfortunately, we don't see it as much as we'd like in a fight." The comment hints at a strategic dimension that could become crucial, not just for the dangerous grappler Hernandez, but for a potential future showdown with wrestling phenom and current champion Khamzat Chimaev. Nicksick acknowledged the intriguing backstory there, noting that Chimaev was once a valued training partner at Extreme Couture. "I think there's a lot of backstory there with Chimaev being out here and training with us. He was a huge asset to the gym and the team when he and Darren Till came out. It was funny because those guys really hit it off, and then all of a sudden they were going back and forth on social media for this build-up. That familiarity could prove invaluable, but Nicksick's greater focus is on the present camp. He revealed that he and Strickland had previously clashed over preparation standards, but the former champion has now fully bought into the process. Some of the things Sean and I were butting heads on were things that I think we needed to be better at as far as the training, the drilling, the preparation, and he's bought in. At the end of the day, wins and losses are going to come and go, but to me, it's a lot about our preparation and how invested we are in preparing for these types of fights. Man, he's been all in. Not only has he been all in, so has the team." For Strickland, a convincing win over the surging Hernandez is essential to reassert himself in the title picture. If he can demonstrate the disciplined, all-in approach Nixick describes, and perhaps unveil more of that hidden wrestling arsenal, it would send a powerful message to the division and make a potential clash with Chimaev a far more compelling and competitive prospect than many currently assume.
UFC featherweight contender Lerone Murphy is taking a proactive and ambitious approach to the championship logjam at 145 pounds. After being overlooked for a title shot in favor of Diego Lopez's immediate rematch with Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 325, the undefeated English striker is not idly waiting for another opportunity to fall into his lap. Instead, he is publicly campaigning for what he sees as the most definitive and challenging path forward, a title eliminator against the equally deserving and undefeated grappling ace Movsar Evloev. In a recent interview on the Pound for Pound podcast, Murphy laid out a clear and compelling vision for the division's near future, positioning a bout with Evloev as the necessary fight to settle the #1 contender debate. "You give me Evloev, the hardest fight," Murphy stated unequivocally. "I think that's the biggest matchup to make. You give me Evloev and you make Yair, Rodriguez, and Aljamain, Sterling fight." Murphy's call-out is both confident and strategically sound. He recognizes that Evloev represents the steepest stylistic challenge in the division, a relentless, pressure-based wrestler who has smothered every opponent put in front of him. Yet, Murphy believes his own explosive striking and fight-ending power can transform the potential chess match into a must-see event. "If he doesn't hold on and make it boring, it would be a banger," Murphy said of a potential clash with Evloev. "Obviously, that would be my job to do some defensive wrestling and break off and time something, but I think that's the fight to make." His argument cuts to the heart of the current featherweight stagnation, with both he and Evloev holding undefeated UFC records and strong cases for a title shot. A direct showdown offers the promotion a clean, marketable solution. "Everyone says it's either me or him that's next in line, so let's eliminate one and get it crackin'," Murphy reasoned, framing the bout as the logical next step for a division awaiting clarity. Murphy's last outing was a highlight reel spinning elbow knockout of Aaron Pico in October 2025, a victory that seemed to cement his place at the front of the queue. By calling for Evloev, he is demonstrating a willingness to face the toughest possible challenge to earn his gold, a move that builds his credibility with fans and the matchmakers alike. Whether the UFC seizes on this proposed eliminator will soon reveal how the promotion plans to navigate a stacked featherweight division awaiting the outcome of Volkanovski's latest title defense. He has arrived in Sydney with violent intentions, ready for a pivotal lightweight clash against Dan Hooker in the UFC 325 co-main event this weekend. The French Special Forces veteran, riding the momentum of back-to-back blistering stoppages in 2025, including a stunning 16-second knockout of Beneil Dariush in November, views this bout as his gateway to the division's elite and a potential shot at championship gold. "We were pretty surprised by the timing of the fight, but knowing it's next to his country made it more clear why they wanted him to fight here," Saint-Denis said at the pre-fight press conference, acknowledging the matchup's strategic locale near Hooker's home region of New Zealand. "I was already in holiday mode in my mind, and I had to switch it back on, because BSD Dan Hooker, you need no promotion. It's gonna be a scrap." Saint-Denis, who boasts a perfect 100% finish rate across his 16 professional wins, 11 submissions, 4 knockouts, has evolved into a multifaceted threat. While his grappling base remains formidable, his striking has grown increasingly potent, as evidenced by the lightning-quick finish of Dariush. He believes a victory over the seasoned Hooker should catapult him directly into the title conversation. "I do expect that the winner of this fight is going to be top 5, and I do expect he's going to be looking to move forward. Of course, I'm interested in the 2 most violent belts in the UFC, which in my mind are the lightweight undisputed title and the BMF," he added. That discussions about high-profile fights, like the recent Justin Gaethje-Paddy Pimblett interim title bout, would only be relevant if I deserve to,
after my war with Dan Hooker. The build-up has included pointed exchanges, with Hooker questioning Saint-Denis' knockout credentials due to his limited number of strike-based finishes. Saint-Denis fired back with characteristic confidence. He said, "I'm not a finisher, not a knockout artist, because I only knocked out Beneil Dariush. He's gonna find out on Saturday, Sunday. I don't know how many knockout cards he has in the UFC. I have 4, and I have a 100% finish rate, and it's a mix between submissions and knockouts. He knows it's going to be something, and I think I will fight the best version of him. I hope so. May the better fighter win." With a significant size and reach advantage at 5'11" and having demonstrated an ability to impose his will both on the ground and on the feet, Saint-Denis represents a daunting challenge for Hooker. The New Zealand veteran, coming off a submission loss to Armand Sarukian, will need to withstand the Frenchman's relentless pressure and diverse attack. Having acclimated to the significant time difference, Saint-Denis declared himself fully prepared for the war he anticipates. The stage is now set at Kudos Bank Arena, a rising contender looking to make a definitive statement against a battle-tested gatekeeper, with the lightweight division's upper echelon hanging in balance. Even without a fight scheduled in the UFC, middleweight champion Khamzat Chimaev has a knack for generating headlines, and this week was no exception. The undefeated title holder found himself playing the role of peacemaker, or perhaps provocateur, at a press conference in Oman for the Fitbox Fighting Championship (FFC) event, where a confrontation involving his teammate nearly spiraled into a full-blown brawl. The incident occurred on Thursday during media duties for FFC 5, which takes place this Friday in Muscat. Chimaev's close friend and training partner, Dzhokhar Duchaev, who headlines the card against Anthony Zaydan in a welterweight bout, engaged in a heated face-off with his opponent. The exchange grew increasingly intense, with the two men chest to chest and shouting before security personnel rushed in to separate them, preventing the situation from turning physical. In the tense aftermath, Chimaev stepped into the frame. Video footage shows the UFC champion approaching Zaydan and speaking to him directly in a stern, admonishing manner, seemingly holding the fighter accountable for his role in the scuffle. Zaydan remained notably calm during Chimaev's address, and a ring of officials and team members ensured the conversation did not escalate further. While Chimaev's exact words were not audible, his intervention underscored his loyalty to his camp and his willingness to insert himself into conflicts even when they don't directly involve him. This type of out-of-the-cage drama is familiar territory for Chimaev. Just this past November, he was at the center of a backstage altercation at UFC Qatar, where he shoved surging welterweight contender Ian Machado Gary, an incident that fueled their ongoing rivalry and added to Chimaev's reputation for volatility outside competition. These moments have become a consistent part of his larger-than-life persona, blurring the lines between fighter and firebrand. Since capturing the UFC middleweight championship with a commanding unanimous decision victory over Dricus du Plessis at UFC 319 last August, Chimaev's competitive schedule has been quiet. He has been awaiting the UFC's decision on his first title defense, while openly toying with the idea of a historic double champion pursuit. He has repeatedly called for a move up to light heavyweight to challenge reigning king Alex Pereira, a fight that would capture the imagination of the MMA world, but remains logistically complex.
Their first encounter at UFC 314 last April saw Volkanovski reclaim the vacant belt via unanimous decision, becoming a two-time champion. Lopez rebounded in spectacular fashion 5 months later, knocking out Gene Silva with a spinning elbow to earn this immediate second opportunity. Volkanovski, meanwhile, has been inactive since their initial bout, adding further intrigue to the rematch. In the co-main event, lightweights Dan Hooker and Benoit both made use of the 1-pound allowance for non-title bouts, each registering at 155.75 pounds, setting the stage for a pivotal clash in the 155-pound division. The weigh-ins, however, were not without controversy. The most bizarre incident involved flyweight Aaron Tao, a finalist in the Road to UFC tournament. Tao was the final fighter to weigh in, arriving 90 minutes into the official window. During his first attempt, concealed behind a privacy box, he registered at 122.5 pounds, a full 3.5 pounds under the non-title flyweight limit of 126 pounds. The unusually low number raised immediate suspicion. Commission officials then required Tao to weigh in again without the box. After dressing and returning to the scale, he came in at 129 pounds, a staggering 6.5-pound difference that put him 3 pounds over the allowed limit. The dramatic discrepancy led to speculation that Tao may have been bracing against the sides of the privacy box during his initial attempt to alter the scale reading. Shortly after the incident, the UFC announced that Tao's highly anticipated tournament final against Namsrai Botbayar had been cancelled, a costly end to his Road to UFC journey. Analysts on the official weigh-in show, including former champion Chris Weidman, questioned whether Tao had used the box for leverage, a move that ultimately backfired and cost him his spot on the card. With the main and co-main event fighters cleared, the focus now shifts fully to Fight Night, where Volkanovski and Lopez will settle their rivalry in front of a home Australian crowd for the champion. Colby Covington is setting his sights on a transatlantic grudge match for the UFC's historic White House event in June, and his preferred opponent is none other than Paddy Pimblett. The former interim welterweight champion, plotting his return to the octagon, believes a showdown with the baddie makes perfect sense from a narrative, stylistic, and promotional standpoint. In an interview with TalkSport.com, Covington laid out his case, suggesting Pimblett's size and recent setback at lightweight create an ideal opportunity. One idea that could be presented is Paddy Pimblett, Covington said. Pimblett's a big guy, he cuts a lot of weight. He probably weighs more than me at walk-around weight anyway, and may not want to keep going at 155 pounds. So what's the sense in Paddy going back to lightweight? There are no big fights for him now that he lost to Gaethje. Covington then framed the potential bout as the perfect attraction for the patriotic stage. I want to present that idea to the UFC, that hey, me and Paddy, a British guy and a USA guy on the White House lawn would be amazing. I don't want to fight an American because it doesn't make sense to fight an American in the American capital on the 250th birthday of America. The call-out is fueled by a personal history between the two. Covington revealed that a past encounter with Pimblett in Miami turned confrontational. Paddy Pimblett for sure, Covington said when asked to pick his White House opponent. I ran into him in Miami, and I wasn't saying anything to him. He started chirping at me, saying I'm a bitch, so let's see if you can back that up, Paddy. Despite his characteristic brashness, Covington expressed genuine admiration for Pimblett's fanbase, viewing the fight as a chance to engage the passionate UK market. I love the UK fans. They're the most passionate fans I've ever seen. I know it'll be hard for them to root for me, fighting their countrymen, but that's okay. I just want to feel their energy and be able to electrify one of those arenas. For Covington, the fight represents a major platform against a globally recognized star. For Pimblett, it would be a dramatic move to welterweight and a chance to rebound against a former title challenger in one of the year's biggest events. Whether the UFC sees the same compelling logic and whether Pimblett has any interest in the move remains the next chapter in this burgeoning crossover rivalry.
Alexander Volkanovski will defend his UFC featherweight championship against Diego Lopez in a highly anticipated rematch at UFC 325 on February 1st in Sydney, marking the champion's first title defense on home soil in Australia. The bout comes 9 months after their first encounter at UFC 314, where Volkanovski secured a unanimous decision victory with scores of 49-46, 49-46, and 48-47.
Current betting lines position Volkanovski as a moderate favorite, with odds ranging from -148 to -162 across major sportsbooks, while Lopez sits as the underdog between +124 and +136. This represents a notable tightening from their first fight, where Lopez entered as a significant +400 underdog before the line closed around -155 for Volkanovski. The movement suggests bettors see this rematch as more competitive, potentially influenced by Lopez's explosive knockout win over Jean Silva last September and lingering questions about Volkanovski's durability following knockout losses to Ilia Topuria in recent years. The over-under is set at 4.5 rounds, with slight odds favoring the fight to end before the final bell. Sharp betting interest has also been noted in prop markets, particularly in Lopez to win by knockout or submission, reflecting confidence in his finishing ability. Statistically, Volkanovski dominated the first meeting, outlanding Lopez 158-63 in significant strikes and showcasing his technical superiority. Now 37, the champion holds a record of 27-4 with 13 knockouts and boasts a striking accuracy of 56% while absorbing just 3.36 significant strikes per minute. However, he returns to Australia for the first time since his unsuccessful lightweight title bid against Makhachev in early 2023, aiming to solidify his second reign atop the featherweight division. Lopez, 31, brings a dangerous finishing pedigree with 11 knockouts and 12 submissions. His spectacular spinning elbow finish of Silva demonstrated the threat he poses to any opponent, and he'll look to close the distance and test Volkanovski's chin early. The booking has drawn some controversy, as undefeated contenders Movsar Evloev and Lerone Murphy, who delivered a Performance of the Year candidate with a spinning elbow knockout of his own, were passed over for this immediate rematch. Nevertheless, the stage is set for a compelling championship clash. Volkanovski will look to wield his experience and technical mastery in front of a home crowd, while Lopez seeks to rewrite the narrative and capture gold by leveraging his youth, power, and momentum.